everybody, and welcome back to the Just Make It Pretty podcast. Today, we are talking about leadership again and what it means to be an actual leader and how that is so much more than just being in charge. So I have the Woman of the Year here to talk about how to become the kind of leader that people actually want to work for and actually genuinely love working for. So if you are interested in leadership or hearing from one of the most innovative leaders in the home building industry right now, please stick around and we're going to get right into it. Welcome to the Just Make It Pretty podcast, the marketing and mindset show for home builders and beyond. I'm your host, Sarah Haynes, and around here we go beyond pretty pictures and we get honest about what's working, what's not, and what it really takes to build better brands, better experiences, and better teams. You'll find creative ideas, practical strategies, and conversations that actually matter. I'm so glad you're here. Now let's get started. All right, everybody, we are back here. And like I said in the intro, I have the Woman of the Year here with me, Kristin Peck. We have been friends for a while now, and I'm just so excited to have you on, Kristin. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So for those of you who don't know Kristin, she is the Director of Sales and Marketing over at Tuskes Homes. And you were just named the Woman of the Year at the Shore Sales and Marketing Summit. Congratulations on that. I'm so proud of you. It was such a cool moment to get to witness.
Thank you. It's still sinking in, I think.
I love that you were so surprised, and you're like the perfect person to surprise with something like that, because I was thinking like, oh my God, if that was me, I would definitely want to know. But you just went right with it, and it was just such a beautiful moment.
Aw, thanks. If there were a couple of videos taken and you see the look on my face, and I'm like,
You're like, wait,
there's no
me?
faking that.
I think it's really cool because I find it really interesting when people win awards like what you've just won, and they have these big moments, and you get a lot of people that want to talk to you, obviously, like you've been on a couple podcasts now, you're here. But I think that the award is the outcome, and I think the story behind what creates that outcome is something that's really interesting. I think a lot of people, they're striving for these awards and these goals, but they don't really know what it takes to get there and all of the things that you put in to get to that point. So I'm really excited to talk to you today and like talk about leadership in general and kind of how you got here and dig a little bit deeper into the behind the scenes behind the award.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
Let's start with, if you could just give me kind of a brief history of how you came to be the Director of Sales and Marketing at Tuskes Homes and how you got into the industry in general.
I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I've worn a couple of different hats. How I got into the industry is I made a career change back in the early 2000s. I was a flight attendant at the time for United Airlines, and it was in 2001 that 9/11 happened. I was flying out of Newark, and one of the flight crew were at that Flight 93. Those were my coworkers. So after that, my world changed. I was a young mom at the time. My kids were very little. I had 3 kids within 2 years of each other, and they were all toddlers at the time. And tried to go back to work, but I really had to just make some adjustments in life as a mom and for myself. So started thinking about, all right, I thought I was going to do this for a while and I'm not doing this anymore. So let's figure out what we want to do. And I always had an interest in real estate and new home sales and a very strong interest. So I'm like, we're going to try to do that because I think that's where my heart is, and let's go there. And I was very fortunate. My first position right out of getting my real estate license, I was recruited by a pretty large builder with an incredible training program. So I really feel like when I go back and I look at my journey from day one to now, I've been so fortunate with a lot of the different steps I've been able to take and that have been placed before me, and a lot of the people and mentors that I've had. Which brings me to today. I came on with Tuskes as a new home specialist in sales. And I just kept, because I had experience, I kept seeing things that I wanted to make better, if that makes sense. And I just kept asking and taking responsibilities for little things. And there you go. Fast forward, here I am. So it's just evolved. But now I've been sitting in the seat for a few years now.
I always love to hear people's stories before home building, and that's crazy. I actually didn't know that about your story. So Thank you for sharing that. When you got into leadership with your current company, what are some things that you were surprised by, or things like if you were to look back, oh, I did not expect this to be the way it was like 10 years ago?
Um, I think I think 10 years ago, you think you have to know all the answers. I think when you first start getting into leadership, you think you need to know all the answers, and you don't. I know that now. I'm pretty vulnerable. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't have the answer, but I'll go figure out what it is. And prior to getting into leadership or even looking at a leadership position, you feel like you've got to know it all. And that's just not the case.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely has evolved, if you will, in my mindset over the last couple of years. And another part of it is just really understanding your team and your people. It's not always about the processes, the procedures, the numbers. It's really about the team because without the team, you don't have the results. So it's really taking a step back and understanding your team too.
When you guys, speaking of your team, you got a pretty large team, but you have a lot of people that have stuck around, and you've stuck around in the same builder for a long time. So in an industry like home building where I feel like people jump around a lot, what made you stay? What makes people around you stay at that company?
We have a lot of longevity here. We are very particular as to who we bring into our tribe
Mhm.
because we do have an incredible culture here. For those that don't know, we are a smaller builder. We're in northeastern Pennsylvania. We are family owned. And there is family that works with us, fourth generation. However, the entire team, and by team, I'm not even talking sales and marketing, I'm talking everybody. We collaborate constantly, we're with each other all the time. We are one big family. And if you fit into this culture, it just feels right. It feels like home. I'm coming to work with people who know my kids' names, know my dogs' names, vice versa. We really care about each other. And I think that has a lot of it. The other thing is everything comes down to leadership, right? So if the top of the food chain, if you will, the leader is not on board with the rest of everybody on the team, there's a disconnect. And
Yeah.
there is a very high level of respect for our president and owner of the company. He empowers us, he believes in us. And I think that's a huge part of the culture that we have here.
I've actually been able to meet a lot of your team because of how much your leadership invests in them, because I see them at events, and not every company sends their whole team to conferences and sends their OSC to things. That's one thing I don't see hardly very many builders do at all, and it's so impactful. So I've always really admired that about your company. It's clear that you invest in your people, and I think that's really cool.
And I think from being with a company for a long time, there's a big difference between investing in yourself in a company. If you're able to grow in a company, I think that's key. And I'm not talking titles. We actually, it's pretty funny in our culture, we don't even care about titles. We can call ourselves whatever we want. It's not about the titles, it's about the
Yeah.
work that you do. Right. And that's very different from most other companies.
Mhm.
But for us, it's really about again, getting the work done, being on the same team, but we can all grow in our positions, grow in our crafts, grow and coach each other. And I think there's a big difference between having loyalty to a company and being stuck, right? And I can say everyone here has a loyalty and for good reason. No one's stuck. We're choosing to be here.
And that's so powerful. And it's a lot of people, especially younger in their career, they hear you should change jobs every 2 years if you want to move up, or if you want to get paid the best, you have to change roles. And I see why they say that in one hand, right? But on the other hand, I think there is an investment in staying with a company for a long period of time. I think there's also benefits that we don't really talk about. And I think it was more common in other generations to stick with a company for longer. But I think we're kind of losing some of that connection that we can get and the culture that we can build by staying in one place.
I agree. It has to be the right place. I think
Yeah.
that's the key. It has to be the right place, but I agree.
Culture is just so important, and leadership just I do think it kind of comes from the top down, but I think a lot of leaders also they don't know how to create culture. And I see a lot of people they're like, "Oh, we have this mission statement and we put it on the wall and there's our culture," right? And there's so much more in that. So I'd love if you could kind of talk about what that means for you. Like how did this your culture really show up?
There's a belief that we all have in each other. Like I said, the collaboration here is a big thing, and that's a big part of the culture, right? So If I'm doing something for sales and marketing, I will bounce it off of other leadership members to get their input. So we're very big on making sure that our teams are integrated as well when we talk about collaboration. But that's also lends into the culture. Now, the other part of that is we do like to laugh and we like to say we're a work hard, play hard company. Okay. So there is a big expectation here to work hard and to work efficiently and to be your best. But we also have a lot of fun together too. For those who may have seen our social pages and stuff, every summer we're in a dodgeball tournament and we're very involved with different charities and organizations in the area. So there's a lot of volunteer opportunities for us to do things together. So from a culture perspective, again, it comes from here, but it's about giving back to each other and giving back to the community. And I think that right there encompasses so much.
It's funny how the phrase, "Oh, we're a family." There are some people that really feel off put by that. It's like, "No, this is my work." But I feel when you do have a company where the culture does pour into you and it allows you to all be yourself and to connect, it's okay to feel that connection with the people you work with too, right? Like it just has to be the right people, I think, to do it.
We know when we're interviewing for new positions, that's a big thing. You have to go through multiple interviews. So, if, say I'm interviewing for sales, yes, you'll interview with me, but you're also going to interview with other members of the leadership team that do not oversee sales in any way because they're looking to, one, get asked different questions, get different opinions. But at the end of the day, we're all looking to make sure that person is going to be a good fit for our team.
That's really important. So, one of the things that someone told me about this. I can't even remember who brought this up to me, but they brought up the concept of non-negotiables. And when we're setting goals and we're doing things for our role, we have our goals that we are going to do, but then we have our non-negotiables of things that we're not going to tolerate or that just absolutely has to happen. So for you, in order to make those decisions and to build this culture, what are some of your non-negotiables that you will just either not tolerate or that you must have?
That's such a good question. I have a very low tolerance for excuses, drama. Those are probably two big things because they just don't belong here. Look, nobody's perfect, right? I'm not perfect. I screw things up. But you know what? Sorry, when I screw things up, I go, hey guys, I screwed something up. It's about taking accountability. So that's where I go into that. Take accountability for your own actions, whether they're good or you screwed something up. Who cares? Take accountability for it. Excuses don't fly very well with me, and especially if they're repetitive. Again, just own it, take accountability for it. And drama. Drama is a cancer in a company. When you see that, you have to either you have to squash it or you have to make some hard decisions, but you can't have drama. It is a cancer and it will spread. You got to rein it back in.
Could not agree more. And it's so crazy how fast it spreads too. Oh, we might have a little issue, and then all of a sudden it's very big. So I think that's a great non-negotiable to have as a leader. Oh, yeah. We all learn those lessons the hard way.
Exactly. I agree with you. And it's probably because I've been doing this long enough. It's like, yeah, nope. And you see it, it never ends. It's never going to end well.
How do you create that accountability without creating fear in the people around you?
So I love to know about my team. It's important for me to know each team member of mine as the human individual that they are. Okay. I want to know how they're wired, what motivates them, what doesn't work for them, and really, what is their why? Why are they here? That's so important and it's so powerful. So, going back to accountability, I think you have to look at each member of your team as an individual, and you do have to hold them accountable, but you also can't coach people the exact same way, right?
Yeah.
So, I set very clear expectations up front. I tell them, this is what we're doing, and it is non negotiable. This is what we're doing. But then you have to follow up with that. And if something is not happening, find out why it's not happening. Don't just be like, this isn't happening. Figure out what's going on, right? So set clear expectations up front. But then if expectations are falling short, try to find out why they're falling short. And then is it something that you can coach back to where it needs to be? And I think that's key.
Definitely. And I think what you said earlier too applies to this where it's like you take accountability, you lead by example. So when the time comes, it's like I've seen her make mistakes and everything was fine. So when I own up to it, it's not the world's not going to end too.
Exactly. It's really important as any leader, really in any industry, is to be authentic and to be yourself and allow yourself to be human and allow your team to be able to see you as a human, right? So, again, I can screw up, but you know what? I'll fix it.
Yeah.
I'll own it, I'll fix it. And that's what I expect my team to do. You're allowed to screw up as long as you learn from it and we fix it.
And I think that's gonna build trust. They're gonna see a lot of the things that you're expecting of them is going to be mirrored back to them as well. And you're going to build that relationship that does last when you follow through with what you say you're going to do.
I agree.
Now, with your culture, have you ever seen or had situations where maybe the culture starts to drift and you're like, you have to course correct? Has that ever happened to you and what did you do?
I think it's going to happen anywhere as I can be like, our culture is amazing. It is not perfect.
Mhm.
Okay. And every once in a while, there's either a scenario or maybe a person or whatever. So it's a vibe, right? I don't know how else to say it up front, but it's a vibe. Look, you know this about me, but maybe not everybody else. I'm a very emotional person. I may not look like it all the time, but I am. So I sense things very easily. And if I feel the vibe is off, I start looking around. I see maybe my team members are not talking to each other as a group as much as they should be, but maybe there's some sidebar conversations happening that shouldn't be. My curiosity comes out. I will literally call them, go visit them, and be like, what is going on? So, as soon as I get an inkling of that, I'll try to understand where this is coming from, what is going on, and what needs to be addressed or adjusted. Because sometimes I know and sometimes I don't, right? It could have been a personal conflict or whatever it is, but there's no place for it here. I always tell my team, I'm like, look, you can have whatever you want going on at home, but they also understand, and I will support them with anything that they need regarding that. At the same time, when you come to work and you walk through that door, you check in, you check out. So, because our buyers expect the best version of us, right? If it's coming to the office, we got a problem and we got to figure out how to leave it at the door.
That's a tough thing. I'm a very emotional person as well. And I totally understand what you mean by it's a vibe. But it's also like when you say that, you're like, I just feel like something's off. That's a hard thing to quantify, right? You're like, this doesn't fit on a spreadsheet. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but something's going on and it needs adjusted. And I think it shows a really good leader to be able to lean into the vibes that you're feeling and into the strengths that you have in your intuition, but also get the information, find the data, make a strategic decision, and move like a leader would, and not just, I'm out here feeling the vibes, right? There's got to be a process to what the vibe
Right. That takes time too, right? That takes
is.
time. So going back to 20 years ago, 15 years ago, that self of mine, I used to think that being emotional was actually a detriment to me in this industry, right? Because I get upset easily, I'll cry, whatever, go hide in the corner somewhere, whatever it may be. I let things affect me and I don't shake things off quick. That's just me. That's how I'm wired, right? You
Mhm.
have to have thick skin in this business. We all know that. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, you are allowed to be human. But I'll tell you what I found now. For me, it is a huge asset to be an emotional person. All right. So, what I used to think was a detriment, I think it's such an amazing asset now because I do want to know about my team members and I do want to bring them to a higher level of themselves. And I care deeply about each one of them and what they're going through professionally, personally, because I always want them to be the best version that they can be. And Sarah, a lot of that comes from emotion. We see things, we feel things. So we're like, okay, you're not okay today. So we're going to walk you through it, right? So it's an asset. That's an asset for sure. But you have to learn how to work with it.
Yeah. Did you feel like in your career you had to fight to show that's an asset or had to prove that's an asset, or was this more of an internal thing that you learned?
No, I think I did. Now you have to go through some growing pains to learn where it's when you need to kind of tone it down and when you can bring it out. I don't know how else to
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
And it has been a joke at a table or two over time throughout my career, like, oh God, she's going to cry. You know what? Yeah, because I feel things and I'm proud that I feel things. I'm proud that I love hard. I'm proud that I care hard. And I look at that as like I said, it's an asset. So it's only helping me develop the teams because all team members, my sales team, my marketing team, everybody wants to be seen as the person that they are and not just a person who has jobs and responsibilities at a company that need to get done.
And I think it goes again back to the culture that you've created around you, that people accept for you for who you are, you accept others for who they are, and you don't have to hide that part of yourself to be successful in your role.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a tough thing. I'm definitely learning that because there are jokes out there. You've even seen me. I bawl at everything. I'm crying all the time. And it's but it's just part of who I am. However,
Yeah.
it is also something that I don't want to be crying in every board meeting. So we have to work around that, and maturity and all that helps. But it's been something that I think a lot of women, that as I've been going through this, I've seen a lot of women that also have that same kind of internal struggle, and they feel like they have to be a different person and hide that and never show it in order to be successful. And I just don't believe that's true.
I agree with you on all counts. I agree with you on all counts. Yeah, I think if you have a lot of strong individuals, let's just say on a leadership team, on a board team, whatever, a board membership team, anyway,
Yeah.
if you have a lot of really strong individuals who are not emotional and you're looking at evaluating things, and whether it's you're looking at marketing or you're looking at sales or what products to bring in or how should we improve our systems and processes, buyer's experience, whatever it is, the emotion of our customers is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So there is a place to have high emotion at every leadership table and to have that influence there because that should be part of the process. And sometimes I think that's underrated.
It's just like any other skill that anyone possesses. You're born with the skill to understand emotions or to feel things deeply. And these are just things that are how your brain is wired. So telling one person, oh, your skill is amazing, we're going to do great things with that. But over here, your emotion, no, we don't want that skill. Go away. That's not very helpful. That's going to really be a detriment to them, I think, as a person.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about the people that are on your team. One of the things I know about you is that you really like watching people succeed around you and you pour into your people. So I'd love if you could talk about like where does that come from and what are some of the things that you specifically want to pour into the people that you are working with?
I love watching people do things that they didn't know they were capable of. I love watching people break boundaries emotionally, mentally, because at the end of the day, everything comes down to belief, right? And that's where it starts. For me, I'm big on energy too. Yes, I want everybody to succeed, but I want that energy to be up all the time. I just had this conversation. We had a sales rally this morning, and I said, I'm so proud of my team because not only they all want to be number one, just so you know, they all want to be number one and they all want to be the best.
Yep.
So they're very competitive. It's not like they sing Kumbaya around the fire and everybody is equal. So they all want to be the best, but they also want to make sure that every other team member is up there with them. And that's a culture that I've cultivated with the sales team, but I can't do that without their buy-in. So I can't take credit for that, right? But with that, there's an energy that's created when you show that support system where it's not just me coaching and bringing each one of them up, they're bringing each other up. And it's pretty cool. Not only if I work through challenges with them and they're like, aha, oh my gosh, guess what I did? But it's really cool when they also help each other and have that same reaction. I was talking to somebody the other day, quick sidebar. So I teach some fitness classes, but one of the classes I teach a beginner's aerial yoga class, right? And I was teaching class the other day and I had this little epiphany. I love teaching this class because people come in, they're anxious, they're scared, they're nervous, they have no idea what they got into, and chances are somebody dragging them through the door telling them they have to go. But what I do is I literally tell them in the beginning of class, all right, number one, I'm not going to tell you to do anything that your body's not capable of, okay? It's your head that's in the way, and you have to trust me. And I say this in class, but I had this thought the other day. I'm like, this is no different with anything else. So your body can do anything you want it to, right? That's just the mechanism. But it's your head that gets in your way. And sometimes your heart has a barrier that it has to break through. So, going back to what I love to see is I love to watch people break barriers, whether it's through my coaching or their team support. I think there's something just so powerful about that and the energy that it creates, not only for me, quite frankly, but and for them, but for the entire team is something that can't be replicated.
How do you keep that energy up all the time? I agree. That would be great. I would love that. But it's also got to be exhausting to constantly be like, okay, what's the next thing? Like, how do you keep the energy?
I'm not perfect. That's for sure. I am not perfect. So I have bad days, okay? But usually when I start to find myself spiraling, I don't know, you could get hit a couple times and your day's just not going so good, right?
Mhm.
But you have to, at some point in time, look in the mirror and start taking some accountability and go, okay, where am I taking myself? And is this where I want to be? And do a quick reverse or a pivot of some sort. So no one is going to come rescue you. Okay. So, from an energy perspective, if you find yourself going down the negative train
Mhm.
or whatever it may be, no one is going to come rescue you. Only you're going to be able to rescue yourself.
Yeah.
There's people who will support you and there's tools that you can grab, but you're the only one that can actually pull yourself back out. And I think that's the most important thing. And even if people around me are having a problem, I'm like, I'll be here 100% for you all day long. But you have to make the decision that you want me to be there for you first. And I think where it could get exhausting is when people don't want to be there or they're not ready to be there. Yeah. But outside of that, like I said, I'm not perfect. I have my bad days. But at some point in time, we have to look in the mirror and we have to pivot because I have a joke with my team. I'm like, negative energy never produced a sale, ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
People thrive off of positive energy and excitement and fun. And by that, it doesn't mean you have to be doing jumping jacks and acting all crazy. I realize I have a lot of energy and I can be a lot for some people. But with that, it's just being in that positive mindset. And sometimes it's really refreshing for people to be around you because there is so much negativity out in the world. So I think keeping a lot of those things in mind and just understanding also who you're influencing around you, that makes a
You
difference too.
For sure. And you said something really interesting that I kind of want to underline is you were saying you can only pour into people as much as they are willing to be poured into, basically. And like,
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing what you said, but when I found this as well, I want to pour into my team. I want to help people and teach them and coach, and all that brings me so much joy, but I can't drag them. And that's when I get exhausted, is when I'm trying to like force the growth onto somebody. And that is exhausting for you. It's exhausting for everyone around you. And it makes it really hard to keep up that positive energy when you're just an empty cup all the time.
Oh, I agree. And I think it's something to really be careful of too. I am 1,000% guilty of being an empty cup. All right. And that's when I have to take a step back and say, okay, something's not working because my vibe with myself is not working. Right. So where do I need to pivot? What do I need to feel? What do I need to do for myself? Because you can't pour from an empty cup, but you also can't let the same people keep taking from your cup.
Yeah.
There has to be a point in time where it's like, I want to help you get to the next step, whatever that is. So help me understand what's holding you back. And they may or may not be able to answer it. And it may be something that you can work through, and it may not be. I'm very guilty of trying to see the best in people when they don't see it in themselves. And I feel like I can get this person to another level. And I'll tell you what, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't
Yeah.
because they weren't ready to be there.
And that's where you get in the situation of dragging them along. And it's like, I see this in you. But like I
Yeah.
said, if they're just not willing to do it, put in the work themselves, you cannot do it for them. And it's really hard lesson to learn as well, because I see the best in people as well. And I'm just like, why? Why can't you just be who I know you are? Like, come on.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so true.
I see this in you. Why can't you see it in yourself? Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
that's
hard. It is
the
hard.
hard part of leadership. And it's a hard part of being someone that cares deeply because not only do you see it and you want it from a leadership perspective, but you feel it in your heart so deeply and you have to mourn that loss, I almost, of that person that you saw in them.
And you have to just let it go.
As we're wrapping up our episode here, I want to talk about one last thing, and that is the relationships that you've created in the industry. I got to know you, I think it was like 3 years ago now, maybe something like that. But everybody, after I met you, everybody knew you. Oh my gosh, yeah, Kristin. And you go to so many events and you're just a force in the industry. So I'd love to hear what relationships you feel like you've made in the industry that have impacted you the most.
Mm. That's a great question. And I think you can actually look at this both ways. So it is a really good question. I actually love this question. So again, I've been doing this a long time, and our industry is just so integrated, right? I could go to Summit and see somebody that I worked with at 2 companies ago and 15 years ago. And then everybody moves around, everybody kind of gets to know each other. On that note, it's a national industry, but we are a very small, tight-knit group. But I think going through my career, I think there's two types of people that have helped shaped who I am today. And I'm just me. At the end of the day, I'm just me. But I think number one is the people who doubted me or challenged me in some way or made me feel, I'll say, a way that didn't feel good. And I'm emotional, but I'm also stubborn as heck. And when I'm mad, I have a point to prove. Okay. If I see that someone doesn't believe in me and makes me feel a certain way, I want to prove them wrong. That's number one. So that's that side of it. The other side of it is I choose who is on my tribe. So there's a lot of people in this industry, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Not everybody in this industry is positive. Not everybody in this industry will lift your pedestal with you. They might try to crash your pedestal. And there can be just some drama. And all of that is stuff that I don't want. I don't want it in my life. It's a bad juju. Get it away. And I don't want to be integrated with it.
Mhm.
So I'm cautious where I step and I choose who I want to be around and who supports me, who makes me a better person. We've got some incredibly talented leaders in this industry. That's who I want to hang out with. The
Yeah.
people, when I do get an award, my phone is lighting up, celebrating me, right? That's who I want to hang out with. But it's also the people who got me to that place because I wanted to learn from them. And I think going back to this industry and the connections that I've made, everything that I've done has been a choice, and where I'm at today has been a choice. But it all comes down to who you choose to spend your time with, who you choose to learn from, and that could be good or bad, right? And where do you want to go? Where do you want to take it? Surround yourself with people that just take you to another level.
And that takes a lot of really intentional work to find those people and to surround yourself with them. I think you've done a great job because I know all the people you know and they're all awesome.
They're chosen.
I think it's a skill that I think a lot of professionals need to hone in on because it's like finding your tribe and putting the effort into finding your tribe. And it makes the biggest difference.
And you and I found ourselves together in a tribe with women's
Mhm.
leadership, and there's a beautiful tribe right there. So going back to that, I think that there's also just being a woman in this industry, I think it's important to create a tribe, but I think it's also really important to have a tribe of women around you that support you, that don't feel threatened by you and want to see you grow and succeed.
And they are out there. Those women are out there and they want to have that community with you as well. You just gotta find them.
You just have to find them. Exactly.
So if you were to give someone like new coming into the industry any advice on like where to start on finding their tribe, what would it be?
Oh, new to the industry.
Yeah.
Brand new to the industry. That's a tough one, right? Because I feel like you have to navigate the industry for a little bit first. Start simple. Something feels off, or if it lacks integrity, if it feels off, if it feels just makes you feel a certain kind of, stay away from it, right? If somebody starts pouring into you, if somebody wants to help you, that's a big one. If you find a mentor when you come in, right? I'll go back to I have had some incredible mentors that gave me all they had and taught me so much. And I'm so forever grateful for that. So if you can find someone that's willing to pour into you
Yeah.
Take it. And trust me, mentors love feeding into people too. So let them do that for you. Starting in this industry is not easy. Again, there's some navigation that you kind of have to figure out in the beginning. So stay away from the drama, stay away from the nonsense, stay away from the negativity because it will lead you nowhere good. And
Yep.
lean to the people who are going to lift you higher, teach you things, ask questions. That's a big thing. Ask questions, get to know what other people are doing. And that's not necessarily if you're in sales, other salespeople, other marketers, it's other departments. And then, Sarah, go and learn. I cannot stress that anymore. Get on podcasts. Go to trainings, go to summits if you can, but learn everything you can, especially in today's world. Everything is at our fingertips. It's so easy to learn something new every day. But the more you educate yourself, the stronger you're going to be. And you're going to be well respected and you're going to be able to help other people as they come in, help navigate and
Yeah,
learn.
I'm so glad you said that because I was going to add that. I was going to be like, if you have the resources and you can do the groups and the trainings and the summits, that's really where I've made a lot of my connections. And I just cannot speak highly enough for Amy O'Connor's Women's Circle because that's where most of my tribe came from. And it was just such an incredible way to learn and grow together.
Yeah.
But you've done every training I think you can possibly do at this point. So you really are very knowledgeable in the industry for that as well.
Thank you. I've been through Roundtable with Jeff, and I have an amazing tribe from Roundtable, both men and women. And then going through Women's Leadership Circle, I have some of my dearest friends. We're all navigating a lot of the same stuff together, and sometimes it's not work, it's life. But definitely, it is hard to figure out your tribe. And it also depends on like where you're working and the amount of people that you have. But there's resources out there
Yeah.
for sure. And there's a lot of us veterans out there that will help you with those resources. Just reach out.
Absolutely. If anyone did want to reach out to you, Kristin, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Didn't even mean to cue that. Look.
You set me up so perfect for that.
You can always hit me up on LinkedIn. I do check my LinkedIn a couple of days a week. You can also feel free to email me. My email, I have two I's in my name. Just remember that it's KRISTINP. If you put an E in there, it won't get to me. So Kristin P at Tuskes, TUSKES homes.com. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, even if you just want to chat, you're new to the industry. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation.
I always do put all those links in the description box for you guys so you can just click right there. And Kristin, thank you so much for your time. Like I've said multiple times in this interview, I've known you for several years, but I feel like I learned so much about you through this conversation, and I just really appreciate you giving me your time today.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was fun. So thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. And for all of you guys listening, thank you also for being here with us and spending this time. I hope that you have some takeaways from this episode. And I think my biggest thing, like Kristen said, there's some just amazing people in this industry that would love to talk to you, mentor you, give their knowledge that they've learned throughout their careers. And I think it's just, you're doing yourself a disservice if you did not reach out to someone. Reach out to Kristin, reach out to myself. I'd love to connect you with anybody. And thank you for being here. And we will see you in our next episode. Thanks, everybody. Bye.